do a little bit of an update because it's been a little bit because convention meetings and vacations and all of that sort of thing. But last time we played, you guys had decided to enact your daring rescue of the younger Magneto from the prison beneath Madison Square Gardens. Unfortunately, you were interrupted by someone who seems to be in the know, somebody who knows what is going on, somebody who had unimaginable power, enough to catapult you through the time stream, with the full intent of just catapulting you in time back far enough to, in the early days of the Earth. And I don't mean like dinosaur time. I mean like, Earth is slowly forming, spinning ball of molten metal in the, sky. But somehow, you were redirected and ended up not terribly far from home, for lack of a better term, in a non-destroyed New York City. Probably circa, 2020-ish or so. Basically, the modern day. And the last thing that you heard was a voice that Buzzkill recognized as Victor Von Doom, the Sorcerer Supreme, saying, I've done what I can. Good luck.
Sounds unlike him.
But stopped you guys from being catapulted back to the birth of the planet. So, yeah, you're going to chalk it up to a win. But yes, you guys are in a bustling, still intact, non-ruinous New York City. And Buzzkill is still like 4 inches tall.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Sorry.
I don't mind a bit.
And I believe Pip was still shrunk as well.
I believe I was.
But she at least has some control over things.
Yes.
But take a look around. You seem to be in a park type area. There's some trees, there's some greenery. You can hear traffic. You can hear birds. You can see tall buildings that are not ruined.
Breathe the air.
You breathe the air. John's helmet is not detecting any sentinels. Lots of people, very few mutants. And we'll start there.
I'm gonna come back to full size, which is still only, just over 5
failed.
Wow, the city's so big when you're in the past.
Well, we have bigger problems than just being in the past. Our actions in some way can affect the future, which we don't fully understand.
I think we should find a place to lay low so we can try to make a plan. Because if we attempt to do something too big too fast, the fucker who sent us to it felt like before the dinosaur, that would have been problematic. Pretty sure that if we make too much ripple in time, you're only gonna know when he's gonna show up. So we need a plan.
I'm going to look around. Is there... I'm guessing I don't see anything offhand that's going to give me a date.
Nope.
Any newsstands around? I'm like moving around the map and looking at the names of stuff.
Yeah, there's. I mean, it's New York in a comic book world, right? There are newsstands.
Okay, I'm gonna run over to one and check out the date.
We'll call it July 2022.
July what?
I'll say July 19th, 2022.
What? What year did we come from?
You guys came from like 2030 something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You guys are, because the module was written back in the 80s and I didn't bother to do a bunch of math, you guys are in the time before Senator Kelly gets killed.
I mean, Charles Xavier's still alive.
It means Xavier's still alive. It means that the war between the humans and mutants hasn't happened yet. All of that stuff.
Let's go find Xavier.
Or Strange.
Before we just show up at somebody's door, maybe we should make a plan because we don't know what the fuck we're gonna do to the timeline.
Fuck our timeline.
I know, but I don't want to fuck it up so much that the dude who try to send us pre-creation of the world shows up.
Buzzkill, how old are you?
16.
Well,
So I'd be like 9 or something around this time.
at least you've been conceived, but there are many that haven't from our world. You can't go changing everything. You have to be careful. Perhaps find someone that knows more about this than we do.
Like Charles Xavier?
Does he know anything about time travel? I suppose he would.
Not more with time travel than we have.
As you guys are discussing,
I got a net.
you barely hear this like thwip thwip sound as a bunch of webbing kind of drapes all over Lodestone. And you hear a voice that yells, "I was like, Doc Connors, aren't you supposed to be at the raft? Time to put you back."
No, we're new. Spider-Man. Good to see you. Please stop shooting me.
Roll some initiative.
Against Spider-Man? Actually, I might even be able to roll.
Oh, you guys do get to go first.
Wow. You beat Spider-Man on initiative.
He sees the world in slow motion, right? Quicksilver's boy.
But yes,
He's so fast he doesn't take time to think.
you guys do see this kind of garishly clad red and blue figure, like just kind of hanging on the side of the building.
I assume we know who Spider-Man is.
You might have a rough idea.
I thought he'd be bigger.
This seemed very small.
Now,
Why is he so happy?
not to the
I'll fly up and go talk to him.
All right.
All 4 inches of you.
All 4 inches of me. He's used to it.
That was going to be a joke there.
and then
Something.
we're looking
I might have to change my name Buzzkill to Firefly.
And so you fly up, and this tiny little voice, like, what do you say to him?
Hi, Mr. Spider-Man. That's not this Doc Connors. That's a time-traveling inhuman from that's Quicksilver's son.
Give me a popularity roll.
Everything is D percentage in this, I remember now. Popularity, mine is -20.
Yep.
And it really is -20 in this era.
Oh. 73. Right. He, his costume eyes kind of squint a little bit as like he's trying to but he doesn't really seem to register. It's like he just kind of nods, says, "Time traveling inhuman." Mm-hmm.
We've all been there, right?
It's a Tuesday. What would the rest of you like to do?
I'm
try
gonna
to break out of these webs.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to help him get out of that webbing.
What is Pip's strength?
Good.
You cannot break the webbing, and you're not strong enough to provide any benefit.
Could I
Yeah.
assist with the strength of the armor?
Yep. What's the strength on the armor?
I'm going to tell you that. My strength is incredible, and the armor strength is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's amazing as well.
I guess.
Okay. So you got +1 column shift. So you'll need to make a yellow for the two of you to break him free.
That's sturdy stuff. I'm not going to waste carbon on this. I'm very confident. Oh, wow.
That is a red. Wow. So, yeah, you do manage to... Actually, wait. I forgot there's something. You do manage to just barely pull yourself free before it hardens into place. And you're pretty sure that once it hardened into place, you are not going anywhere.
Please stop doing that. We're not your enemy.
Yet.
Right. Pip, what would you like to do?
Oh. Despite the size differences, Pip will stand between Lodestone and Spider-Man. With her little, tough girl New Yorker self.
Right. And Spider-Man, what is Spider-Man going to do? He's going to think a little bit about what Buzzkill said. He kind of stops for a second. Like, time travel.
Yeah.
In humans?
Well, 1 Inhuman, 3 mutants. From terrible future, sent back to the past. Tuesday.
So he'll kind of like swing down and land, do like, a very like superhero landing. Like right beside Lodestone, kind of looks him up and down. Like, you look more like Doc Connors or one of his experiments than you do any of the Inhumans I've ever said. But hey, time travel, hey man, that's rough.
We need to speak to somebody that can, guide us towards the best choices that we can make at this current time. We don't want to, influence the future too much. Which we already have by talking to you.
We want to influence the future, but we want to make sure we do it right. So that it ends up better than it is. Not that it could get any worse.
I've got a pretty good authority that any messing with the time stream or anything is probably bad.
We didn't choose to be here. So now we got to do the best we can with what we got.
So how far in the future are you from? Like, a couple of days, a week, a month, a year? Oh, does Mr. Stark know you have his armor?
I don't have his armor yet. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's weird.
I can assure you we didn't steal it.
Okay, so are you guys from close enough to now that you know people?
Yeah, we're talking. You said like 2033.
Yeah, you guys are from like 15, 20 years in the future.
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah, 15 and we're talking 15 or 20 years. So I may not even be conceived yet, technically.
I'm gonna make sure I do not cross my path with myself.
It's 11 years.
There comes the bath.
Pip's gonna look around suspiciously, like she's fully still kind of expecting something to come after them.
There's absolutely no sentinel in that radius.
It's probably best that we share as little as possible about the future, is my understanding.
Oh, that's something about the present. There is no sentinel now in range.
Oh, no, I was speaking. Yeah, of course.
So you can't tell me like who's gonna win the World Series, like in Back to the Future?
Who the fuck cares?
Well, I probably could, but should we?
Nobody cares.
At the moment we come from, there's no more World Series. So that'll give you a cue that we need to make sure that things don't happen like that.
Okay, that makes sense. This is not a friendly neighborhood problem.
No, this is Reed Richards, Professor X, Doctor Strange problem.
I think Mr. Stark is off-world, and
You probably don't want him to see this futuristic armor anyway.
Yeah, I don't want him to give him idea to make the things he's gonna make in the future too fast.
But is it really stealing if you steal the idea from yourself?
Nick Fury, maybe?
I don't know how much experience. Maybe. But the doctor should be at his home.
Then you could point towards Bleecker Street.
Oh yeah. And you just there's like people walking by in the streets that are just like kind of like turning their heads and looking at this, like Spider-Man giving directions to like a couple of tourists, a really small person they can barely see, and a giant lizard. You know, and there's people like pulling out their phones and taking pictures. And
you can see the comic panel, right? Like, no, the second left.
Yeah. So if you go that way, and yeah, okay, I'll lead you. I mean, I was supposed to meet up with some people, but time traveling, not wrecking the future, does seem to be more important.
Pip looks increasingly uncomfortable the longer they're standing there. Kind of like she's trying to shrink in on herself without actually shrinking for a change.
It's all right, Pip. We'll be fine.
You're more articulate than Dr. Connors is, for sure.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, the two of you have a lot in common.
They lick their eyeballs.
Maybe. But yeah, follow me.
All right. Well, we might as well go see the sorcerer, I suppose.
Let's roll.
Yeah, okay.
You're right, Pip. I thought that Spider-Man would be much larger than he is. Sounds like a child.
I mean, He's taller than me, but not as tall as I thought he was going to be. Everybody's taller than me.
Oh,
I'm not.
God, he will be.
Maybe.
I always thought he was a spider.
Sorry. It's not permanent. He will be taller again.
Kind of like him like that. Buzzkill, do you need to be carried or can you make your way?
I can fly.
I was just making a joke.
So mean.
Humor is very important. Let me know if you find some.
I'll do my best. Not that'll matter anyway.
Stop it. Pip just kind of pulls her coat kind of tighter around herself. People, I can't go anywhere with you.
So together you guys make your way across like part of Manhattan until you come to the familiar Bleecker Street abode. Buzzkill, it looks exactly like it did last time you saw it from the outside. It's like, do you guys know Doctor Strange from where you're from?
I've been in his house, but he wasn't home at the time.
Oh, that's probably not a good idea.
That's gonna go over well.
I was invited in.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I suppose we could just knock on the door.
So he'll like kind of stop on the stairs, kind of like adjust his suit, kind of like, standing up straight sort of thing. Knocks on the door. The minute it opens. And yeah, you see this very kind of like dashing, well goateed, middle-aged man. And Spider-Man's like, found these folks in the park. From what little they've told me, this is a you problem, not a me problem. They've been pretty cagey about things other than time traveling and humans mutants. Anyway, I gotta go. And he just zips off.
Thank you, Spider-Man. Okay.
The gentleman kind of motions for you to step inside. It's like, come in. Off the streets is probably best before people see you and start reporting things.
That was our thought.
And he leads you into this very stately, kind of like manor type house, like sweeping staircases leading up, stained glass windows, library off one side, sitting room off the other. All like dark woods and mahoganies.
Any difference from the last time I was here?
Very different. So,
maybe it's best you walk us through how we should explain this predicament without influencing the future.
well, your merely being here has undoubtedly influenced the future.
Not our choice, but where we are.
Not our choice, but the future is really shit. So might as well take advantage of this. Just want to do it in the right way.
I see.
Like really, really shit.
So you've come back in time to change your present.
We've been sent back in time to get rid of us, and someone with a job similar to yours made sure that we got here instead.
Oh, I see. So you're not here voluntarily.
Certainly not.
It was a surprise.
But our plan is not to go back without doing anything. Like the Sorcerer Supreme of our time decided that we should do something, and I think we should.
Our future sucks. Especially if you're a mutant.
Well, it's not really your future; it's your present.
Well,
Your future is
I
not
guess it'd
right.
be your future.
Frequently, when dealing with time travel, remembering which tense to use is important, just so we can keep things straight. So your present is miserable for mutants, correct?
The future.
For most everyone who has anything. Well, human has it a little better, but not that much.
2033 sucks.
I see. And you plan to change this?
We plan to seek out an expert like yourself to determine what we should do in this particular situation. We're not aware of what our actions may cause by changing the future. We've not decided to make any changes at this stage. And Lodestone looks everybody in the eye when he says that.
Right. And so Strange just kind of gestures with a hand, and a book kind of flies over into his hand. He's like,
Pip will give a little yelp and jump.
you should read this first.
All right.
And when you look at it, it's the collected works of Ray Bradbury.
Who is...
He's a science fiction author.
Okay.
How would you not know who Ray Bradbury is?
I don't know who he is.
You definitely.
I was a horrible brother.
You
Yes,
must.
yes, you were. On so many levels.
Fahrenheit.
Bunch of Bobby beer when I was underage, so I'm sorry we're on YouTube. That didn't happen.
As long as your mother doesn't see it, it'll be fine.
All right.
Statute of limitations.
Right. Anyway, Ray Bradbury's a classic science fiction author, but the specific story that Strange is referring you to is called, I believe it's called The Sound of Thunder. I can't remember if it's Sound of Thunder or Delicate Sound of Thunder.
It's been ages since I've read any Ray Bradbury.
Books are for losers.
It's called A Sound of Thunder.
What kind of geek are you?
The whole story is 12 pages. What's your understanding of like temporal physics, ripple effect, butterfly effect, chaos theory?
Oh, I remember this story. This was a great story.
Do you have any sort of grounding at all in time travel?
Well, if I did, I'd probably be solving this problem on my own.
First time we've done it.
Oh, first time. Okay.
Last time, hopefully, ish.
That's a better answer.
How is that a better answer?
Well, I hate to think that you were like, oh, the first time we time traveled, that was great, so let's just do it again.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's kind of better than where we came from, but still creepy.
I've rarely met a person who time travels that is okay. It tends to play with your mental state a fair bit.
Well, I guess the question is, what should we do exactly here? Should we be looking to return to our present, Or should we be looking to perhaps stop a calamity from happening in your future? I think I had those tenses right.
That's hard to say. I mean, some people would believe that if you're here for a reason. Others would believe that you shouldn't mess with things you don't understand.
Well, we are here because the Sorcerer Supreme decided to bring us here to this particular date and time.
I find it hard to believe I would do such a thing without a reason.
In 2033, you're not the Sorcerer Supreme.
His eyes kind of narrow.
Trying to avoid giving that information, it would make his analysis biased, but...
Okay, well, realistically, you have a few choices to make. You can try to find a way to return to your present. Hopefully, at roughly the same time that you left, so that there's no ripple effects. Alternately, you could try to prevent this calamity. If you're successful, that would mean that your present no longer exists, which means you don't exist. But because you need to exist in order to do things, you'll become untethered in time.
Sounds awkward.
Yeah. I mean, it'll give you a little bit of maneuvering room. It doesn't mean that there won't be a version of you in that future that is, whatever you would have been had this calamity not occurred.
Not split alternative realities or anything like that.
I don't believe the time streams and the multiversal streams are intertwined. It's a distinct possibility that you might branch off into another arm of the multiverse. I don't believe so. I believe that you would still be in this universe, just the timeline would be changed. And things would happen to ensure that it was always the way it was meant to be. Which does mean that you would be unable to return home, but there would be a version of you there that is living your life as it would have happened. So, if your future is as bad as you say, if you alter it, it means that there will be a version of you that lives in a future that is better. It's just not going to be you.
I'm willing to roll the dice so that at least a version of me has a future, and maybe my family is not all dead, or in camp, or there's a chance for a future with a version of me that didn't have to make the choice. But we need not just to fix what happened here, and we need to fix what we found on Titan.
There's been hundreds of thousands of children conceived from this date to where we came from. And the whole world could cease to exist. They could perhaps not exist. We can't do that to make our lives better. That's not right.
I'm not going to make my life better, but I can make the life of the other better. And from what I understand, my life's not going to change in any way. I'm not going to have had a better life than that. I will still have lost my wife through this. But if we change the future, maybe she's alive somewhere with a version of me that has not had to make all the choice I had to. That's what I'm banking on.
Exactly. And unfortunately, I can't advise you. It would unduly affect whatever it is you're meant to do. So, but you are welcome to stay here for the time being, to stay off the streets and not attract undue attention. And once you've decided what to do, we'll see what we can do to assist you.
Thank you, Doctor. Your insights are valuable. This may take some time to talk out.
Of course. There's tea and cookies in the kitchen.
Eat. Cookie's half my size now.
It's a big ass cookie.
I promise. Just, it's gonna take a while.
Dr. Strange, I've kind of been stuck here in this size for the last couple of hours, and I probably have a few hours left. You got any temporal spells or something that could speed this up?
Could you stop playing with time? I mean,
He'll like wave his hand and say something under his breath, and this like orangish light kind of like emanates from his hand and reverts Buzzkill to his regular size.
Woohoo!
It's not time manipulation, it's a growth spell.
So when this wears off, am I going to be 20 feet tall?
No. I'm not a hack.
I think I'm supposed to take that personally.
Well, if so, I would keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure what's your job exactly, Doctor, but our intergalactic people of the universe in your realm of watch out for?
That was all garbled.
I think that helmet's kind of taking its toll.
Perhaps they should plug in the battery and recharge it.
I'll leave you go sit down and dodge.
Okay. But yes, help yourself. There's tea, there's cookies, coffee if you care for it, hot chocolate. Make yourselves comfortable.
At home in the kitchen. Do you have peaches?
Yeah.
Fresh or canned?
Oh, I've never had a fresh peach.
I have not either.
I didn't even know that was an option.
Yes, the future was very bleak, Doctor.
I see. Terrible peach blight was there. No, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Yes, let's say that.
No, let's not say that. That's the whole point of this.
It's not true, but we'll go with peach blight.
Sure.
Yes, there's a fruit bowl in there. Help yourself.
Boom. I just beat it in right in there.
Do you...
Are spatial celestial force of in your realm of activity, or should we ask someone else about those kind of things?
I have many concerns.
Not the only one, buddy.
But I think the less interaction with you, probably the better before you let something slip.
I concur.
Valid. Coffee, tea.
Hot chocolate.
Yeah, I know you want hot chocolate.
I've never had hot chocolate.
She'll look at Lodestone again. Anything?
Oh, wow, you
What?
that
Sounded like
hell is going crazy right now.
That was like R2D2.
Are we sure John can breathe in that thing? Because
Oh, it's very much malfunctioning. I don't suppose we have an extra arc reactor laying around.
maybe I'll just get him some water.
Shower.
I got shower, I think.
Right. Well, enjoy your fruit bowls and your treats, and take a moment, and then eventually we'll have to get together to determine our next steps.
After food.
After food, yes.
Pip will kind of edge her way around Dr. Strange toward the kitchen. And then once she's like 5 feet away, she just beelines down the hall.
I'm already there.
Oh, yeah.
Apologies, they are from a place that is not used to opulence such as this. Doctor,
Yes.
is it possible you'd have the capacity to reach out to the Inhumans if we choose to do so?
I could, if need be. We're not on the best of terms currently, but
I'm not sure if that'll be necessary, but it's something that, depending on how this conversation goes, may come up.
let me know what your decision is, and then we'll see about formulating a plan.
Thank you, Doctor. And keep an eye on the peaches. They do like their peaches.
Okay.
Hammer's trying to update to the 2022 version of the OS. That's great.
Yeah. The StarTech operating system is not backwards compatible.
It's connecting to the Star satellite. And
What is Starlink? I can't do anything with Starlink.
What do you mean? What do you mean? There's only 5G?
God.
5G.
Oh.
All right. Now we do need to discuss how we're going to move forward. Yes. And I believe it's something of a very large decision, not something small, not something just to ad hoc make a decision or flip a coin, but something to honestly discuss.
Are you joining us in the kitchen?
Probably, yeah.
She'll kind of, if he's talking while he's walking down the hall, she'll kind of like duck her head back out the doorway. If it wouldn't make things so very horrible for, everybody, I'd be fine just staying in this kitchen.
Well, we can't just stay in this kitchen. You know
No.
this.
Yeah. I know, but let me, imagine for the length of time it takes me to eat a peach at least. She's rummaging. She goes back to rummaging through cupboards and cautiously checking things out. Open the fridge. There's food in there. Actual food.
Yes, that's how civilizations are supposed to work.
Yeah, well, maybe in your lifetime.
Yes, in my lifetime. My experiences are different than yours.
A little bit. So go back to rummaging through the fridge.
Buzzkill, what are you thinking about this next step?
I'm a lot less cautious about changing the future than you are.
Our future sucks.
The future's so bad that I want to go to Xavier immediately and let him read the future and let him make a educated decision on what to do next. He can read the future right out of my head.
Not sure that's a good idea.
It's not like it's just bad for us, it's bad for everybody. I mean, unless you're a sentinel, I suppose.
It's bad for everyone in the United States.
I don't know that it's great for everybody else. Of course, I don't get news from anywhere else, so,
We could have an impact on the future that would be negative, but I think we have a duty to try.
To try to do what exactly?
make things better.
On that, we agree. But
The thing is, we know that, we know what happened on Earth, but after Titan, we know that something bigger is afoot. This is a nation on a grander scale. We need to understand the grander scale of things if we want to act upon it.
well, to do that, we would have to talk to the doctor about Immortus and about his replacement, let's say.
The one, like when we went on Titan, there was a creature that organized the attacks against Titan that is suspect is trying to make the universe. Am I right on that?
It's hard to say. Your helmet's still being quite glitchy.
There's a creature being that we saw traces of on Titan that is trying to make the universe more chaotic. Am I right or wrong on that?
We did learn on Titan that something is affecting chaos or creating chaos, not only on Earth, but throughout the galaxy or universe. I assume this would be this thing that attacked us and drove us back in time.
I think we need to understand that thing better. Because if we just fix what happened on Earth to make sure that the future we know didn't happen, I'm not sure that's going to be enough.
True. But how do we learn
If
about this
focus
thing
on
without changing the future?
I think we need to change the future. Maybe stop him before he gets to that point. The problem is if he speed times like he stays speed times, if we make too much ripple, he's gonna come for us here, and we could not do anything jack shit about it.
Very true.
We need to find a way to get to know more about him. Because I would, if it was just me, I would go stop the assassination and speak with people who understand better politics to make sure that the world turns out different. But that cannot be the only thing we do. We need to go to the root of that shit.
I strongly oppose changing the future in any significant way. I think that's outside of our. Well, we have no right to change the lives of hundreds of thousands of people who were born, who got wed, who made families. Some of
If
which.
we don't act, if we don't act, it's as if we made that future ourselves.
Now we can act. We can look into this particular individual and we can find proper ways to improve our future, but I'm not convinced that we should change our past.
When you go to my house, I'm going to try to be there when they go take my but
Anybody get anything from that?
Not a bit. Sorry.
I love this armor malfunctioning though. Sorry, Eric, but
So you think we can change some small thing that's going to make the future better, but not stop the senator from getting killed, which started this whole mess to begin with?
And I'll give you my thoughts. My thoughts are that we take this time safely in this present, our past, to determine the best way forward in our present. But to prevent our present from happening is, I think, immoral. Something gods should make decisions of, not us.
Oh, let's go speak to God. I know there's a couple in the street of New York right now.
That's great. There are gods in New York? What?
Probably a couple, at the very least.
Oh. What's on the king?
That'd be Thor, probably Hercules.
So you're worried about people who are born In the future. What about all the people who die between now and then? That's fine. Just let them stay dead.
Well, that's a strong way to put it. Bit of a strong man, but yes. People die. It happens. So, I guess you're putting a scale up between people who have died versus people who exist. Who are we to judge that?
Or people who've lost people. That's who.
We've all lost people.
We don't have to.
Yes, people will be lost regardless. But you're essentially saying, and I'm making assumptions in a bit, but you're saying if I can save person A, that's a good thing. I agree. But by saving person A, person B ceases to exist. But was never born, so there's less trauma, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
A
lot less.
Inconceivable.
But what if person B was the next Xavier or Doctor Strange or...
Well, then the Sentinels are going to hunt them down and kill them. So, they're not going to be. They're not going to get the chance to be. They're going to starve to death. They're going to die of exposure. Some Sentinel's going to be chasing somebody else, and they're going to knock the top off of the building, and it's going to fall on them.
How do we get to make that choice?
We don't let the guy get killed now-ish.
What you do in a bad situation is you do the best you can at the time with the tools you have available, which means if we see somebody here that's about to get shot, we save them from being shot. And we don't worry about how that's going to affect the future. If we know there's going to be a political assassination, we stop the political assassination. We don't worry about how that affects the future.
I disagree strongly.
I strongly.
I'm not going to be walking around not saving people because I don't want to step on a butterfly.
John, you should try to get out of that armor so that you can join this conversation. Because obviously I am, too young to know anything? So.
No one's claimed that. No one's berating you or Buzzkill for being young.
Our world sucks.
It does.
Change it if we can.
I think it's that simple.
Well, maybe not. Maybe we try to fix things and things still end up sucky. Well, at least we tried.
Or perhaps we utilize the time that we have here, as I said, to find a way to fix the problem in the future. And yes, that means that people have died, they're still dead, but people who are conceived are still conceived. I think that the Tony Starks, the Reed Richards, the Xaviers, if we approach it correctly, can perhaps direct us in a way that we can win the scenario that we're in our present. Or alternatively, we can roll dice and see what happens to the future when we step on the butterfly, as Buzzkill says.
From Ray Bradbury.
Never heard of him. Who's this guy? Keep dropping names. Stupid literate people.
If I had known there was going to be homework for this game, I'd have done the reading.
There's an EC Comics adaptation of it. It's like 5 pages. I'll send it to you if I can find it. Short summary: a bunch of people go back in time to trophy hunt a Tyrannosaurus Rex. They had it all worked. It had it all worked out. Everything was taken care of except one guy accidentally stepped on a butterfly, and that wasn't accounted in the math. When they got back, the whole world was different.
I think I've actually seen that.
It's a pretty famous story.
Yeah, I read
It's a
stuff.
common trope in sci-fi.
Stuff. I'm smart. Literate as shit.
Almost.
Part of that statement was right.
We're hard on each other today.
Yeah, we should remind people that Tony and I have known each other since we were 11. I've known Trevor since I was 16-ish, and then we were roommates
like
in
that.
college. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the 80s, so it's a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
Oh yeah, and I've known Trevor since, well, forever, basically.
Yeah,
Well, since I was
literally,
3.
actually.
Since I was 3.
Your entire life.
So yeah, we're used to ribbing each other. No one's getting mad here.
We still got to figure out what we're going to do.
I think we need a John. I think John needs to weigh in.
Yeah.
I think John's going to want to fix shit. But maybe that's because I pay attention when he's talking about, the fact that he's got people that he cares about.
Such a bad idea.
John's got dead relatives that he wants not to be dead.
Me too.
So does everybody.
Well, then why don't you want yours not to be dead? Oh, wait, because your dad's an asshole.
That has nothing to do with it, but true.
He is. And, I mean, they're going to be executing your grandfather. So, maybe we should try to fix all that.
But, we're talking out of character here, but, having Quicksilver alive, it's bad because he's an asshole. But having Wanda dead and Magneto dead in the scheme of things is probably a good idea.
I mean, it's probably safer for most people.
Like for everybody else in reality.
How do you feel about Doom as Sorcerer Supreme?
Well, that's a problem. But
Pip doesn't know about that yet. She's got no feelings on it either way.
oh shit, I didn't know about that. I kind of spoke like I did. Sorry about that.
No, one person heard the voice. I think he was the only one that heard it, right, Chris?
We all heard it. I'm the only one that recognized it.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
So at the very least, we could say that it wasn't your voice.
Correct.
But it wasn't like they didn't advertise it as Sorcerer Supreme. So.
And just as a note as well, Magneto in your timeline isn't dead. The older Magneto left, and then rather than try to capture him, somehow they manipulated the time stream to capture the younger Magneto. So there's actually 2 Magnetos in your timeline.
Yeah, there's all kind of fuckery going on.
That can't be good. There's no way that's going to turn out well.
Yeah, two magnetos is not a good idea.
Especially if one of them frees the other. That's going to make things so much worse.
Chris, do we know who attacked us?
You don't know. Somebody that you didn't recognize, and somebody who had apparently the ability to just catapult you willy-nilly through the time stream. But you do know that in the timeline that you come from, I mean, there's some things that are pretty messed up, like the Spirit of Vengeance has taken over Mark Spector. Apparently, the Carnage symbiote has taken over somebody. Nightcrawler is apparently working for the bad guys, so, or somebody like Nightcrawler at the very least. But you don't know who that guy was that catapulted you through the time stream.
Then we get into that really interesting thing if we ask questions to Doctor Strange about who this person might be, you start influencing time streams and all that kind of stuff.
Yep, possibly.
Damn. Yeah, I'm with Yerk. He's posting in Discord that dealing with the time traveler is probably the most important thing. Right? Because we don't know what our future should have been. Like, there could have been a dozen things that has happened because of this guy.
Yes, that's a great point.
So we could,
definitely, I'll update it soon.
if we could deal with this guy before he starts fucking with shit, then the timeline would turn into what it's supposed to be. I think is what he's saying.
Well,
Maybe. Just a second. Pip's gonna duck out of the kitchen and go kind of cautiously looking around to see if she can find Doctor Strange.
or Wong, he has more common sense.
Whoever, anybody. Anybody who's not part of our little.
Do not interrupt Wong while he's watching his shows.
I won't recognize any of the plot lines. I can't spoil anything. Pip has only seen news broadcasts forever. But yes, Pip's going to go looking for someone who isn't part of our merry little band of time travelers.
Yes, you can find the doctor. He's basically in his library doing some light reading.
She'll cautiously knock on the door.
Just before you knock, he's like, "Enter."
Hi. Sorry to interrupt. I've got a quick question.
Is it about time travel?
Not exactly. It's more about you.
What would you like to know about me?
Can you, can you kind of separate off, part of your personality, thoughts, something, part of your mind, so you can actually have a discussion with us and then forget that bit so that we're not influencing you?
I could, but I am insatiably curious. So I don't trust myself to not go digging after the fact.
Damn it. Would it help if I just said everything sucks?
I'm sure it does. People who come from happy futures do not tend to want to change them.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think is the smartest person in town?
On what subject?
Cause and effect.
Tony understands cause, but I don't necessarily know if he equates it with effect.
I'm gonna go with he doesn't think things through to the end. I think that's probably true now and has always been true.
The unfortunate thing when you're dealing with individuals such as Stark and Richards and Pym and Cho is that they because they are smarter than everybody else, they think they're smarter than everybody else, and that leads to a certain degree of hubris.
Yeah, that's kind of what we got going on in the kitchen right now. And that's why we were kind of hoping that there was someone else who was wiser. Maybe that's what I should be asking you. Not who's the smartest person in town. Who's the wisest person in town?
Oh, wisest.
You know, who isn't insatiably curious. And she'll give him kind of a little smirk.
I would have to give that some thought. I don't believe anybody has ever asked me who the wisest is. It's not something that comes up. Xavier tends to think things through more or less fully. As does McCoy.
I know who one of those people is. Kinda.
McCoy is beast.
Yes. Player knows. Character's
Oh, okay,
got no
sorry.
Pip knows her backyard, and
I'm
that's
still
about
throwing
it.
from the Ray Bradbury line.
Right? Like, I know he's read Ray Bradbury.
He's got a lot of brain cells since then.
That's true. But I mean, it was like a competition back in the day who was reading more. Of course, back in the day, we were like 13. Pre-internet.
Did the Helm update work?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, nicely.
Well,
She's gonna
remove the
pop
update from
pop her in.
John,
remove the update from 2022.
Yeah, that update.
Yeah,
That
I need
was
to turn off auto update on that thing. Windows was trying to push something. I don't know what Windows 11 is, but it's trying to fuck it up.
I tried to avoid that particular update in the future.
Yeah, I'll need to constantly tell him no updating. You know how those things are. Sorry about that.
Always wait until they've gone through a few iterations.
Yep.
So, wisest? Somebody named McCoy?
oh, McCoy's a scientist.
Xavier.
Xavier, my previous mentor.
Are they around? Because unless their name is my previous mentor, I think we're going to have trouble finding them.
They are not.
Oh. Well, that doesn't do it. Do I need to narrow it down to who's the wisest person in town that's alive?
Fury's usually pragmatic.
Yeah. I don't know if pragmatic's really what we're going for. I mean, maybe.
I think I know someone.
Okay.
He picks up like an old rotary phone. Says, "Do you need to meet this person?"
Probably make it easier to ask them questions. Yeah.
Okay.
We're looking for input. Because, probably shouldn't leave a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old to make these decisions. However old Lodestone is. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe he's not older than us. Huh. No, he's definitely older than 11. Never mind. It's fine.
All right. So he does the phone. It's like, I need you to come over. It's like high grade weirdness, not the normal weirdness. Okay. Yep. Perfect. It's like, yes, he'll be over soon.
Huh. So that's how those things worked. So weird.
You don't have. Never mind.
They've got cords. Like.
Well, mine has cords. I have bad luck with electronics.
It's attached though. Like, how do you walk around and pace while you're talking to somebody?
Carefully.
Huh. I would fall down so fast. Who?
A friend of mine. See, that's the problem with.
We're gonna need to call them something. I mean, we could just say, "Hey, friend of Doctor Strange," but that's gonna get really awkward really fast.
But that's the thing, is the more people that we involve in this, the more tenuous things become.
Okay.
But you can call him Steve.
Oh, God.
Sure. Okay. Thanks. We'll be in the kitchen. And she'll grab John and haul him toward the kitchen. They have peaches. There's fresh fruit. There's fresh food. There is a fridge that's actually cold and it's full of food. There's milk.
I'm grateful for the hospitality. I want to abuse it, but grateful for the hospitality. What I was
the engineering behind making a fridge is very simplistic.
getting the materials that's the problem.
And electricity that doesn't go out all the time.
Yeah.
And food to put in it. That helps too.
That's the big one.
I know.
Food's tricky.
I know it was a bit garbled before because of the elm and all. But what I was trying to say is, I think we have a duty to do something. But the thing we are dealing with is time traveling, so it probably adds alteration to the timeline. I'm pretty sure the future we live in is not the future that was meant to be, if such a thing exists.
On that, I asked Doctor Strange to find the wisest person he knows to help. So somebody named Steve is coming over? Whoever that is.
Steve. Well, not Frank or Bob or any other random human.
Nope. Guy named Steve.
Wait with bated breath, I suppose. But if he's the wisest man, according to the Sorcerer Supreme, then there's probably something to him.
If Doctor Strange don't want us to explain to him what's happening, and we know someone that would be able to hear us and advise us, that could work.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange seems bright enough and wise enough to point the right person. Maybe?
The difficulty is it's difficult to share information without altering the timeline. So we have to be careful with what we say.
People bite into a peach. See, and that's what I said. Because I asked him, like, could he, I don't know, split his thoughts so that we could talk to him and then he could forget about it and then go about his normal life. But he said he'd be too curious. And then we had this thing about who the smartest person was, and we decided that Tony was a bit of a dipshit and would be a bad choice. So I said, well, who's the wisest then? So apparently some guy named Steve. So, yeah. I mean, it's not like Strange didn't know why we want to talk to him. So,
just making sure that my friend from the reading club is not named Steve, Chris.
No, it's not.
Okay, good.
Friend from the reading club?
What? Yeah, one of my contacts is my friend from the reading club. And his description is he's more important than I know, and he's just the guy I go to tell him about my problem and like just vent about all the shit that is happening. But he's more important than I know.
Oh, by the way, my name's Steve, aka Galactus. I mean, it's good to meet you.
I mean, something like that. My friend from the reading club. I mean, if it was him, I would have wanted to know.
Okay, I guess we're waiting for Steve.
I mean, his name isn't necessarily Steve, but I told Strange that we had to call the guy something. So, I don't know. He might have just plucked whatever name he saw first on the bookshelf, or the character in the book he was reading. I don't know.
Probably
For all I know, it is a character from the book he was reading.
Probably the same way I ended up being named John, because that's the first name I thought about.
Alright, so after a few moments, probably like 5-10 minutes, there's a sound of a motorcycle out front. And then there's a little bit of a knock on the door. It opens. You don't see anybody go down to open it, the door just opens. And this very muscular blonde-haired gentleman just kind of pokes his head in. It's like, is Steven around?
I think he's down the hall.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot. Stephen Strange, right? Huh? Goes back to eating her peach.
He kind of looks and says, "Oh, you must be the reason why he called."
Yeah, I expect so. Yes.
Are you Steve?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yes.
we're the reason he called.
Sorry.
I don't know what he needs to tell you or wants to tell you about us first, if anything. So, and
he said it was
peach in one hand. Pip will walk out and just kind of gesture for him to follow her back to the library.
Right. So yeah, he follows.
I guess we're going to the library.
I'm not sure that the doctor will want to be there for our discussion with his friend. He might want to say something to his friend first. Yeah.
Pip will call back. I'm not sure he'll let us eat peaches in the library.
I won't.
See?
You want to breathe Steve before we ask him?
How about we all just sit here and let the Steves have a conversation, and then they'll come talk to us when they're ready.
Piff will deposit this newcomer at the library and then bounce back to the kitchen.
Okay. So yeah, they have a bit of a discussion, and then after 10-ish minutes or so, Steve comes back. He's like, "So the doctor says you needed perhaps advice or guidance. He was pretty vague about things. Something about some weird stuff. But he didn't say what kind of weird stuff. But given the fact that one of you is doesn't appear to look human,
Inhuman. Yes.
I wasn't certain. So I don't know exactly what sort of weirdness you're in, but I'm willing to give some advice as needed."
Well, the first question is, how much could we tell you?
He told me there's some weird stuff and you were at an impasse and perhaps required some guidance.
It's about time travel.
Oh. I love time travel. I really don't.
Nobody likes time travel.
Okay. He kind of sits down, and the chair groans a little bit under his weight.
I'm gonna put it like that. We come from a future that's not that great. We didn't come here voluntarily, but the Sorcerer Supreme of our time saved us from going in a very, very uncomfortable time and made us come here instead.
Is that who it was? Okay.
I would like to add one little thing, which I think we've forgotten.
I was gonna add that the guy who's behind all this manipulate time, so the timeline might already have been fucked up before even we started.
Language.
Oh.
Outside of that, Steve, it was made quite clear that this adversary that sent us back in time required that Magneto be executed or dead or something. Can't quite put the reason to that. I don't know why it mattered to him. And the same time that he sent us back, he said that it was important that Magneto would die.
Did he?
He did.
And this individual had the ability to send you backwards in time.
Drove us through time. And Steve, I would like to make it very clear that as an Inhuman, and we're all mutants here, and some of us are capable, some of us are less, but this thing was indescribable. Could not be stopped with my strength or my speed, with my powers or any of our powers. Made no dent. We were walked over like a force of nature. Whatever it is, it's powerful, very powerful.
And we think it might be the source of trying to make the old universe more chaotic and probably the source of our terrible future.
Well, so let's just focus on pieces of the puzzle first. All right. We'll follow that until it gets to a logical conclusion, and then we'll pick the next piece. So, the time you come from is bad. The darkest timeline, I believe they call it.
It's not great.
It's very bad.
Okay. And there's an individual that you believe is responsible for this?
Well,
I think that's fair to say, yes.
from what we discovered, he has been making sure that as much chaos has happened in the universe, from Titan to Earth to farthest reach of the universe, and we think that the current state of the world is caused by his action. Yeah.
And is this person from your time?
And we don't know.
Yeah, no idea.
Pip was muted.
Sorry. Pip looks confused. Was I like unconscious or something? I don't remember getting knocked out.
When you're very small, sometimes you might run into things and
Maybe.
Oh.
Maybe I was in a different room.
And this individual says that he needed Magneto to die.
I believe we know that, right, Chris?
Yes.
Yeah.
So why not simply kill him?
Well, that's something I'm confused about. It was, I don't want to affect the timeline too much, but there was 2 attempts to kill Magneto.
And he went and got another Magneto from somewhere else in the timeline.
Yes, one clearly from another time. It seems that Magneto's death matters to this particular individual's time. I'm not sure why. It doesn't make any sense.
He wanted to kill him very publicly in front of the world on camera and all. My working theory is that he was doing that to lure someone out that was in hiding that would come out only to save Magneto to get his hand on him. But I might be wrong.
So rather than simply eliminate Magneto when given the opportunity, he needed to be publicly executed.
Right. And now we're in the past. We're in our past. And Lodestone doesn't think we should try to change anything. Some of us disagree.
Strongly.
There is a
strongly, very strongly.
There are certain moral issues relating to time travel, undoubtedly. So you have to make the decision that you can live with. But manipulating the time stream is not a casual display of power. Even the most powerful time travelers that I've encountered expend a tremendous amount of energy to do so. So using it to eliminate you or try to means you were getting close to something. You don't exert that much power if you can simply swat a fly. You don't use a flamethrower to go varmint hunting.
Which begs the question why, in our particular future, the advantage is on our adversary's court, let's say. We're very little threat in the scheme of things.
Have you read Bradbury?
Just recently. Hey, Lodestone.
I suppose he's a science fiction novelist.
Yes. So if your adversary, things change dramatically if you entertain the possibility that he's not from your time. If he is manipulating things to get to some point in the future, he needs certain things to happen to ensure that future.
Which makes some sense, but to what end?
I don't know without knowing the adversary.
We don't know the adversary.
But generally, if it is somebody from the future, and if they're capable of time travel, it could be somebody from centuries in the future. They need to line up the dominoes so they fall the right way for whatever it is that happens in their future to happen. They are in your present doing what you are contemplating doing here in your past.
How long have they been doing it too? They could have been doing it they could be doing it here right now.
That's
They could have already done it.
That's why I suspect that the state of the world in which we live in has been engineered.
Then whoever engineered it was a really shitty engineer. Because it sucks.
Well, the future we live in is the time travel equivalent of the bench for the hobo with spike on it. It's hostile architecture. It wants us not to live there.
Mm-hmm.
So if this adversary is from at some point in the future, and they're in your past, ensuring and going through great effort to ensure that Magneto is killed publicly, that means that is a key moment for their future.
All right, makes sense.
And if we stop it if we go back to our regular time and we stop it, what's to stop them from just resetting the game again? They've probably done it 10 times.
That is entirely possible. It could be that you or some version of you have gone through this hundreds, thousands of times.
So the goal is to find our adversary, determine what he's trying to do, and then, if necessary, stop him.
I usually find that works. It's a little bit.
How do you find someone when you don't even know who they are?
What about our activities here in the present? We see a mugging. Do we stop the mugging?
It will have ripples, I'm sure. I mean, I'm not a scientist.
So there's a
Why are we not talking to a scientist?
There's a big assassination.
We need someone wise. Don't need someone bright, apparently.
I'm not wise, but I'm telling you that I am the sort of person that if I see a mugging, I'm going to stop it.
So we know that there's going to be an assassination. Some of us think we should stop it because it leads to really horrible things. And one person thinks we shouldn't stop it because they think time should just be allowed to go on the way it was, into a horrible, sucky place.
I believe that you're explaining this in Cole's notes, as they say, but yes.
Mm-hmm. Try not to muck things up. So yeah, Cole's notes, kind of scanty on the details.
Is this assassination part of your adversary's scheme?
No idea. But it's the reason. It's theoretically the reason they're trying to kill Magneto. A version of Magneto.
What is the connection between what we've seen and killing Magneto? It doesn't make any sense.
Because he's the most high-profile mutant ever, anywhere.
I think the point was right from Mr. Steve. If he needs to kill Magneto publicly, it's because it's a fixed point in time. If you want things to work as, if you want to get to the future you look into, that had to happen in his past, so we need to align that so that specifically that happens. So that's why he doesn't care which Magneto it is. He just need a Magneto to die at that point.
But why? It doesn't make any sense.
It's because we don't have a big enough picture.
Revenge.
All right. Okay. Let's see if. Have you guys seen Back to the Future?
Yep.
Yeah.
What to do with my kids?
Okay. So, when Marty goes back in time, he has to make sure that his parents meet, or he is never born. Right?
Yep.
Applicable for some of us here, yes.
Okay. So, if this individual needs to ensure that Magneto dies publicly, it's because somehow that death affects his existence. So it could be something as simple as, I mean, it sounds kind of improper, but if his parents are anti-mutant radicals and they meet at that execution, he needs that execution to happen for his future to be. There is a reason he needs that event to happen. Doesn't matter what that reason is. He needs that to happen for his existence. Otherwise, he would not be expending as much power as he is to ensure it happens.
Well, this makes some sense, of course, but
Usually with these sort of megalomaniacal time-traveling villains, their reasons are buried under 1,000 layers of obfuscation. The why doesn't matter, the what does.
well, then we're set to a position that we have to defend every Magneto that has ever existed at any time. And we are not time travelers. We have no capacity to move ourselves from one place to the other, or one time to the other.
Just the way everybody else does it.
Someone sent us at this specific time. There must be a reason. He must know something about all this. Why did he choose now? There must be something about now that is important for us to do.
All the voice said was, "I did what I could, do what you have to." That's not any kind of guidance or help. That's just, I don't know.
That time. It shows that time. It shows that year. It shows that date. It sent us here.
Maybe he just sent us as far back as he could. And that's when the electricity ran out. I don't know.
I mean, we were being sent farther back than now, from what I felt. And he snatched us from the wave there. I saw the destination. And the blur that we were trusting, I saw where we were supposed to be, and he gave us another path and throw us here.
Okay, so guy number 1 was trying to send us way farther back?
Yeah, we were trying to send us back.
And voice number 2, maybe voice number 2 pulled us from way back to now and couldn't pull us the rest of the way because, I don't know, it's a blackout in the city.
I mean, I don't know how those power works, so who knows? I don't know if there's intention beyond the date.
I don't.
We are here now.
I didn't grab the newspaper. I don't think there's anything special happening today, but that doesn't mean there isn't. It just means that I don't know about it.
I mean, it might not be today. It might be in a year, in a month, or something. But I think the era is important. But I might be wrong.
Steve, what's the date?
July 18th, 2022.
Does that mean anything to Lodestone?
July 19th.
Whichever. It's roughly a week before the assassination of Robert Kelly.
Just doesn't make any sense.
It sounds to me like our benefactor wants us to stop the assassination of Robert Kennedy.
The thing is,
Kelly, not Kennedy.
Kelly.
I think what is going to happen here is going to ensure that he can do the thing with Magneto in the future. The thing is, if we stop it here, he's going to show up. And we still need to find a way to deal with that guy. Because if he shows up, he can still thrust us in the back. Like, beyond manageable.
Unless he can't anymore.
If we stop it here, we stop the killing of Magneto because we stop the future in which we can stop, in which we can execute him. Thing is, what do we do when he shows up?
Well, we can't fight him.
We're kind of assuming a lot of everything about what he can do and how time travel works. And
The last 10 years forced me to assume the worst. Well, I'm planning as if the worst was true. He might not know that we're acting. He might not see what's happening, but there's a chance he will. And if he does, we need to have a way to react.
We need to know who he is. How do we do that?
Do you have any information on him?
Some, we know what he looks like. We have some understanding of his abilities. We've been trying not to share, to not taint the timeline.
Do you have time to scan it? I'm going to address my armor.
Okay.
See if we have anything, if we had the time to, like, take an image of him, or just his biosignature, stuff like that.
Okay. There is, and conveniently enough, the Stark Tech can hook into the local Stark network here in New York that's active now.
Tony does know how to make things backwards compatible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to plug it in. After you plug it in, it's fine.
You know, once you get
Is there a way to do that without alerting all the system that I am here?
you can certainly try.
Good luck.
Yeah. But I'm not going to go for the... Don't connect to the Stark system for now, but maybe if we can connect to a TV, I can show you what the armor saw.
Okay. Well, I think you might be onto something here, though. If this adversary, when did you encounter him? Under what circumstance?
We were trying to
Magneto.
Right. So obviously he is invested enough in Magneto to show up personally and expend a fair amount of power.
Agreed.
First time we saved Magneto, he got back in time and found another one.
And you believe that there may be some sort of a link between this assassination and his ability to execute Magneto.
The The assassination in question will create the world in which executing Magneto is possible.
So if you are to interfere in this assassination, if it's as crucial to his plans as the execution is, it may lure him.
Yep.
It seems reasonable.
That's why I think we need to find a way to deal with him before we plan on, like, trying to find a way to stop that assassination is a big thing, but we need to know what we're going to do with him if he does show up. And dealing with him might be our end game.
Oh. If you decide to take this course, I do have some friends that have some experience. This is sadly not our first time traveling megalomaniac.
My concern is that his power level is way, way beyond ours. And he's not a mutant. We know that.
Try to connect to the Stark Tech. You see if somewhere in the database of Tony there is information about him. But if I'm not good enough, which I assume I will not be, he's going to know I'm here. And right now we need to make sure that less people know we're here is the better.
I understand. When it comes to punching above our weight, my friends have some experience.
Well, this thing is nearly a god, as far as I can tell.
So I'll bring a couple of my own.
I like this guy.
Your plan is to, what, ambush the man?
Do you have any other way to find him and stop him?
Well, we're not sure that he committed the assassination, only that he's probably involved in it.
I don't think he committed the assassination, but I think he's going to show up if it doesn't happen to make sure it happens.
Yes. If he
He
needs...
might have pushed the people that were about to do it to do it.
If he needs the dominoes to line up, then you need to find one of the dominoes in that chain and knock it out of place to draw his attention.
And be capable of kicking his ass when he gets here.
And be capable of dealing with him, yes. Please watch your language.
Oh, sorry,
Different.
Standards change in over the decades. I'm sure you know.
People kind of lean over toward Buzzkill. He didn't correct me.
He's not saying anything out loud, but he's thinking, it's like, I wonder if I went to the Latvian embassy with a sign says temporarily displaced, need to talk to the master, see what happens.
But if your problem is the adversary, if you wish to deal with them, you need to find them. And the easiest way to find somebody, especially somebody who is sure of themselves, is to kick over their sandcastle.
Now, if we do this, we're changing the lives of hundreds of thousands of people.
And if you don't do it from this point, hundreds of thousands of people will suffer anyway.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get to choose that?
You make the decision that you can go to sleep with.
True.
if what your friend says is true, perhaps he's already manipulated the timeline.
I believe he has. If we had a way to track where he started this dominoes, that would be. I would be more inclined to begin with the first domino as opposed to the middle domino, if that makes any sense.
Well, the person who saved us from being sent back to the dinosaurs or whatever sent us here. So I would say, what's the closest obvious one from here?
Mm. From what we learn on Titan, it's not just Earth, it's globally in the universe that there has been manipulation.
Well, that narrows things down a little bit. I mean, there's only certain entities that would be involved in things on such a scale.
Well, according to our experts, there's very few that match this.
We're talking about like universal chaos. Earth is part of it, and possibly from what I've understood from all this, maybe he was born on Earth in the very future. So that's why what happened here is more important to him, but he's working with the whole universe, trying to put a wrench in the whole state of the universe. And with the kind of time travel power he has used it.
But Magneto is not that important. He's strong. He's powerful. I understand that.
It's not Magneto that's important. It's whatever happens as a result of his death.
Does a war start? Does somebody come out of hiding and then get killed? Or does somebody survive because Magneto dies? There's plenty of ways that this could turn out.
Drawing out Wanda, maybe. That would be a thing.
It would be chaos.
It would.
Well, let's make some friends, get some muscle, and stop an assassination. That will bring him, and we'll see if we can stop him.
We have a week to try to find information on him. Try to get ready. I mean,
you should probably meet Tony Stark.
It's probably not for the best.
Is it a good idea for him to see his future work?
I give him a clue who he's building it against.
Because if we start acting, we'll never go back to the future we come from. The people or the people we knew will have a better future with a version of us that will not have lived through all the shit we did, but will forever stay the sum of the experience we got. I'm ready to sacrifice all this so that there's a version of me that is I can take care of my wife and my kids in a way that I could never and protect them like I failed to do. But if we start on that path, we don't go back. We don't have a way back.
I don't care. The way we were living is no way to live.
Yep.
We can make a better life for people. Let's make a better life for people, even if we can't partake in it.
From what I heard from the Doctor Strange, we're not gonna disappear, but we're not gonna be a part of the world as we were before.
I'm good with that. As long as I don't have to wear a collar. I wasn't much part of the world anyway.
Keep people we care about from dying.
I'm willing to sacrifice to save and give a life to people who didn't have a chance to. But Glowstone still has a family, still has people to come back to. It's simple. Easier when you've already lost everything to just throw the dice for a better future. I get that he might want to preserve a part of that waste.
Don't make the mistake to think that I haven't lost anyone in this time. I have.
Yeah.
My people are gone as well.
I just mean that you have a bit more people to save. I already failed at saving mine. I have people you can save.
All right. Well, if this is what we collectively agree on, then this is what we'll do.
I'm trying to weigh the consequences, so we do it in the best way we can with the information we have.
Steve, you believe you can bring in people that can deal with this particular threat, yes?
I can put out the call, yes.
I understand that this threat is extremely dangerous. I am powerful, probably powerful enough to deal with, well, this collective group. And I was no match for him at all.
We'll do everything that we can. If you find any other information, though, pass it to me or to the doctor. That way, it contains any possible contamination.
Try to keep our heads low as best we can. But my friends here are quite adamant that they will try to prevent this domino from falling. So that's what we'll show do, for better or worse.
Understood.
I don't think it can get worse.
Well,
It most certainly can.
things can always get worse.
Yeah, I know.
But, and he'll just jot down like a phone number on a piece of paper and push it across the table, probably to Pip.
Who's passing me a piece of paper?
Steve.
Oh. Okay.
If you have any information from me, you can reach me at this number. I'll speak with my friends. We'll get everybody together, and we'll come up with a plan to, if this does lure out your foe, we'll be ready.
Thanks for the help. Much appreciated.
Um, when this is all over, you can thank me then. And then he'll get up and leave. What would you guys like to do?
I hope his friend are contain as much God as it seems to imply. Okay, so the doctor said we could stay here to lay low.
Yes, to basically prevent any possible unnecessary contamination of the timeline, he's willing to let you stay here.
I'm gonna pass this by you guys, but there's something I could go get this time that I will get in a year or two that could help me be more useful. Could go get that now instead.
That interfering with the timeline, or is it something already lost?
And in a year or two, I'm gonna go see a guy and buy it from him. He can get my payment a bit in advance. He's gonna get it at some point anyway.
Do you have money that will work in this time?
It's not money. I'm gonna pay him.
All right. I don't have any particular.
That's your teacher.
Oh, I thought it was prostitution.
Lodestone. I presented you one of my friends who taught you about like engineering and stuff.
I remember.
Well, he is in the timeline right now. He has his lab. He's doing his little things, and he's gonna sell me a device in 2 years, a year and a half. That's gonna allow me to become like this, like with powers and stuff. When we met, I've already lost that thing, but I could go buy it from him a bit earlier and get a few more tricks up my sleeve. We need to fight that. For now, I just don't know where to get info on our enemy, so I'm just trying to get as much tool as I can. That's all I can think of right now.
I expect the less we mess with the timeline, the better. But I don't know. I really don't. I'm not sure what the next step should be. In lots of ways,
I can try to print out an image of what I could scan of the guy we fought. And we can try to see with someone in this time if we can try to identify who that is. If you decide to act, maybe we could show that image to Strange.
we need to know this adversary. We need to know what he's capable of. I'm not sure how to move towards that direction, but maybe Buzzkill was right. We should, if possible, reach out to Xavier.
I think that's the smartest move.
In a lot of ways, he has the most to lose in this future.
You want to go see who?
Xavier.
Professor X.
Okay, yeah.
If memory serves, he died during that assassination attempt as well.
We was not able to prevent it. What kind of heads up do we want to give him?
We don't even know how to find them, but
I don't know how to find him, but if we do go see him, I believe if we want to find him, we will.
It's not going to be hard to find. We're in Doctor Strange's house. I'm pretty sure that they could get in touch.
Yeah, that's my point. If we want to find him, we'll find him.
my expectation is that if he does respond to our call, however that call is made, he will understand exactly our predicament in roughly 250 milliseconds.
It'd be hard to find because there's a Xavier's School for the Gifted Youth in the phone book.
There is.
Too. Holy shit. That stuff's public.
I mean, there's an address that can get us there in approximately 45 seconds.
We're
Is
not
the power-
illegal right now.
Is the power grid is still up?
That's just kind of sinking in.
I'm just gonna keep the helmet though, because I'm walking in the street right now with my wife.
Just like there's a fucking power grid around the world. What the hell?
I mean,
We're not.
if we go to that place, I might see my wife.
Well, that would be a problem.
Yeah,
Perhaps a phone call then.
that's why I'm thinking about if we go there, I'm gonna keep the helmet.
Yes, that would be very important.
Oh,
I mean, I don't intend on removing the helmet anytime we are in this timeline, because I might cross my path on the street. I might see my wife somewhere. I might see my stepmom. And
You're like a decade older than you were. That's noticeable.
yeah, just don't want to do something stupid or say something stupid.
Leave that to me.
Well, I'm sure it'll come from someone.
So we can go knocking at Xavier's door. I can go buy my device. We can try to print out the image of the thing we fought and show it to Rogers that can show it to other people who have access to database, or show it to Doctor Strange. That's what I got for now.
Well, I'm thinking we can show the image to Rogers or Stephen.
Yeah.
At the very least, since he's willing to, intercede, let's say. Outside of that, perhaps we should call this school and see if this person can help us. If your wife is there, we should not show up in person.
Yeah. You're right. Probably at school. I don't know this date. I don't know if she's where she is exactly, but she's probably at school right now. I'm gonna keep the helmet on. Let's see if we can get someone on the line. Can I do the hologram thing a la Star Wars to show the image that the armor saw?
Sure.
I'll look into the last fight we had and show up an hologram of the guy we fought. Did everyone saw that guy? Is it the same image for everyone? Just in case.
I didn't see anybody.
You didn't see anyone?
I was in
That's
the
the
dark.
fellow I put the collar on.
Okay. So maybe we start by showing that to Steven, and then we go see Xavier or ask Steven if going seeing Xavier is a good idea. And we work from there.
Yeah, I suppose. Send that image to Stephen, to the phone number he gave you.
I was thinking about Steven, not Steve. Dr. Strange.
Stephen. Let's try to exclude Stephen. He seems to be trying to stay at arm's length. Send it to Steve, and then we'll make a call to the school. Perhaps we'll see how that goes.
Oh, okay. I think I know how to do that. I'll send. Oh, okay. I'll click to the armor. Send an email to my phone and then to the number of Steve. Okay, I think I can do that like that. So I'm gonna try to use the present time internet to make an image of that and make it so that I can send it as a text message image to Steve.
Yeah, we're in like 2022 or something, right? So
Yeah.
we could send an image.
Yeah, I assume John is like, okay, how do I work with that system?
I'm going to hit the button, and I'm going to hold it here, and then hit the little thing with the arrow on it, and share image with. Oh fuck! I got to make a new contact.
I mean, I've been using that while I was here back in the days, but it's been a while.
Okay. All right. So you're sending the image off to Steve?
Steve. Yeah.
Okay.
We can show it to his friends, see if anyone has seen anything about that in their database. And then we can see if we want to give a call to the school for gifted mutants.
So you send the picture to him, and he responds almost right away. He's like, "Huh, should have known."
Could have.
Do you have a name?
What do you say?
He said he should have known, so I guess he already had fallen with that.
Yeah, we've tangled with him before. That's But you guys don't start small, do you?
Well, that's not a first one, but yeah, it might be a big one for a third one.
Yeah, the first one was some guy named Logan with claws.
Oh, yeah, Logan. Wouldn't surprise me that he would be still kicking around. Yeah, this particular piece of work is a gentleman known as Nathaniel Richards. As far as we know, no relation to Reed, although maybe at some point in either the future or the past. But we've encountered him before as an individual known as Kang.
Kang?
Okay.
Yes. And if he is manipulating with the time stream, then yeah, he is 100% up to no good. So we need to find out what he's doing and stop him. The effects that he can have on the timeline are unfathomable.
We were about to go ask some people that will be impacted by everything in there and that might be able to consult and help us. So we're gonna add more help to the pile, I guess.
Okay, yeah, this is definitely something. This is, yeah. Um, I'll let the people know, and if he falls for this, if this assassination is crucial to his plans, and he shows up, we're gonna need to be ready.
Yep. Okay, good.
And
So, at least we know what we're dealing with.
what would you like us to do in the meantime?
I mean, okay, admittedly, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I think if he realizes somehow that you're not out of the picture, he tends to take things personally. So try not to make any ripples. Try not to show up on like news reports, camera photos, any of that sort of stuff. Anything that he might conceivably see in an archive somewhere, sometime in the future.
Okay.
Stay low, be subtle.
We were thinking about speaking with Mr. Charles Xavier because he's gonna be in the kerfuffle of the assassination, and maybe he could help.
Just keep it on the down low. If Kang thinks you're interfering in his plans, and he has eliminated you, and discovers that he failed, he'll come again and again.
Okay.
And that's when you guys all realized that when you first landed, you took people took a bunch of shots of you with Spider-Man in New York. You guys are like
Sorry.
all over the social medias.
Who are we talking to right now?
Steve.
iPhone.
Oh, okay.
Captain America.
Yes. But yeah, you guys realize that, there are definitive pictures of you guys in present day New York.
John,
Yeah.
see if you can reach out to the School of Gifted Youngsters as soon as possible, please.
We need someone to wipe digital footprint.
Just call them, please.
Okay. Work on that part because we got intercepted by Spider-Man. That comes with pictures.
The kid's got a knack for that.
I'll tell the school, look for a way to get the digital footprint washed.
Okay. All right. Well, this is good to know. Now, at least now we know who we're dealing with, so we can plan better.
Okay. Thanks. We'll get on those two problems now.
All right.
I hang up with Steve and I'll pass a call at the school.
So yeah, you get like a receptionist, like Xavier School for the Gifted. How may we help?
Oh, sorry to be a disturbance, but I think I have a message that might be of interest for Mr. Xavier.
Well, unfortunately, Professor Xavier is in meetings all day today, and then needs to prepare for a summit with some sort of right-wing anti-mutant senator. But I will take your name and number and have him call you as soon as he is able.
That might be not enough. I'm not sure how to put that, but there might be interference in his preparation.
John.
Yeah.
Let them know that Wanda insisted that we call.
Yeah. I'll that might ring a bell for him, but Wanda insisted that we call.
I will pass the message on. What is your name and number?
Tell them we're at Stephen Strange's place.
Yeah, we're currently at the Dr. Stephen Strange abode. So let me give you the number.
Okay.
That should ring a bell.
I should push us right through.
Right. I will let him know as soon as he has done his meeting.
While I'm talking, I'm just gonna memorize the energy path from the phone to that phone,
Okay.
just in case.
Perfect. And yeah, after she takes your name and number, she'll hang up.
Yeah. No, yeah. The way my hypnotism wouldn't work on the phone. I was thinking of pushing that, but it's a bit too far away. We need to affect our brain cell.
But I think what we'll do is, as you guys are starting to like line up, getting in touch with the X-Men and the Avengers, and realizing that for some reason still unfathomable, Kang is behind all of this time manipulation.
Fucking Kang.
I love Kang, goofy suit and all.
Oh my god, Kang. Oh god.
So yeah, I think we'll call it there, as you guys are starting to line up some troops to make some plans.
Yep.
All right.
But I will give everybody like 50 spendable karma and like 100 XP karma.
Nice.
Just for the question, how much did it cost to buy a power?
To buy a power.
Yeah.
A new power is 1,500 plus the starting rank times 20.
1,500? Okay.
Yeah, super expensive to buy a new power.
Okay. Because I wanted to go back and buy the device that gives me the Mad Genius tech. So I can go back to the original character. I wanted to know how much it cost.
Yeah, powers are super expensive.
But it's the goal to work up to.
Yep. All right. But yes, we will call it there a little bit early. But we'll pick up next week with some Avengers, some X-Men, some Kang, some time travel shenanigans.
Oh, so much fuckery.
All of the things.
Fuckery is afoot.
It's not just
But Chris, awesome session.